a lot of businesses fail within 6 months because they run out of money. They don't have sustainable money.
Hey, podcast listener. This is the THC Foodie, where you can get the scoop on the business of THC-infused foods. If you'd like to learn more about what we do, check out the THCfoodie.com and icecreamprivatelabel.com.
Startups are kind of like bodybuilding. People will start doing their daily tasks and go, and at about a 3-week mark, they get tired and they decide, I'm not seeing the progress that I want. I'm not seeing the money come in, and then they just drop off.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And I think part of that, and that's a good analogy. And I think that it's all part of the long-term plan. So somebody gets an idea, or somebody sees somebody else that's successful, and they say, I want to do that. They get into it and they're not seeing the results that they envisioned, and then they abandon the idea, or they take off. So it all has to do with schedule and realistic planning, actually.
In your experience, because you've worked with a lot of startups, and we're talking about startups, not the kind of startups where you throw up a website and you start making, incremental cash right away. We're talking about startups where people are investing hundreds of thousands of dollars on the front end, and they're hoping to have a long-term business.
Well, yeah. I mean, it doesn't even have to be hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's talk about a retail store. So let's talk about a ice cream shop or gelato shop or bakery, coffee shop. So what happens is that folks look at what they want to sell, what they envision their specialty is. What they do is they put their investment in the look of the facility first. Then they put their money into the equipment that they need. And many times they have this idea that why they're opening their shop, and let's say it takes 90 days and there's a sign out front opening soon, they get this idea that there's all this excitement and hype going on outside. And so when they open up, they have a lot of their money tied up, their investment, but they don't look at the everyday cost. Food cost. Now you have utility costs. Maybe you have a couple of employees, so now you have those additional costs. And so what happens is a lot of businesses fail within 6 months because they run out of money. They don't have sustainable money. And I think that I see that more on the retail sector than in the manufacturing sector. And in the manufacturing sector, I think that the folks that are doing it tend to be, I would say, a little bit more business savvy. I'm not saying they're smarter. I'm saying that typically they've been in other segment of business where there was significant investment, over $100,000, over $200,000, and they have a business plan. They have financing that is going to take them through build and then a certain amount of time to get the business up and going, maybe a year. So they might be running lean, but they have the ability to stay open. Maybe the revenue is not where they want it to be, but they can still pay the lights, they can still pay the rent, and which I think is important. And a lot of times, people in the retail segment don't have as big of a wallet to invest, and they're so focused on the detail of the business. In other words, opening up, customers coming in, they're able to make their creations. They're so tied up in that they can't believe that they just believe that this is going to be an overnight success. And it's really too bad, because I've seen a lot of, I talk to folks about this specific, and of course I'm not going to get into their books, but we do have a talk about the survival rate. We have a talk about sustainability. How long can you survive and working this place yourself at 12, 15 hours a day? How long can that last? Now we need another staff member, seasonal. Maybe the weather's a little too hot or the weather's too cold. So are we able to go through the ups and downs? So yes, we can do that. And then the doors are closed. And it's a sad story because there was a lot of good investment put in the front and a lot of good ideas and a lot of good, sincere interest. And they just lack of funding,
In the beginning, you said one of the ways that you can combat this failure is in the front end, you make a very specific plan of events that are going to have to happen. These are the things we're going to have to pay for over the long run.
Yeah. And in going back to your analogy, then it would be the individual that is going to say, okay, I'm going to give this 6 months. I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to change my lifestyle because it's all tied together with my workout and my attitude to get the results that I'm looking for. So it's very much it's the same as, can my business be part-time and still be successful? And the answer I've always said is you're going to get out of it exactly what you put into your business. If you want part-time results, then yes, you can work part-time in your business. So success is measured on many levels. So on the workout analogy, if this person wants to work out, but they want to eat, and drink and all of these things that are not complementing the workout, then they're not going to see the success rate in a time period that they wanted. So they're working out, they're doing this whole program part-time on their basis, which is fine. But you can't have the best of both worlds. And it is interesting how many folks will say, Daryl, I want to start this business. I have this revenue, but I want to keep my full-time job for a while. What's the risk? Well, the risk is how well if you're able to train who's ever running your business to run it the way you would run it, then the risk is minimal. If you just throw if you have, in the case of an ice cream shop, if you have young people that are working minimum wage, that this is just another job for them and they don't have the same passion as you, then I think that your business may not be represented as you would if you were behind the counter. So if you want to do it, if you want to have a business and you want to keep your full-time job, that is fine. It's going to take you longer to get your return on investment. It's going to have you managing your business remotely, and it's going to be more reactive than proactive. If someone was spending over $50,000 and they said, can I do this part-time? I would say, sure, you can do it part-time. However, how fast do you want to get your $50,000? So, that all ties into the plan, the timeline of success. They still talk about start a business. It takes about 5 years. If you can make it the first 5 years, then you're going to be successful. Well, that's kind of saying the same thing. I'm not necessarily saying 5 years is the magic number, but I'm saying it's not 5 weeks. It's not 5 months. It's a realistic timeline to be able to open it up, see what works, see what doesn't work, modify, change, respond, react, and continue forward to make your business as successful as possible.
Do you have a product or business you want to share? We want to know what you have to say. Leave us a comment on our website at thethcfoodie.com or on Twitter at SafeTHCFoods.